Melissa?
Yeah, you can go live.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go live.
Am I looking up or down when I'm looking at the mirror? I'm looking at my mirror. Am I looking directly on the camera or am I looking?
No, you're looking up.
Up. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I'm going live. Let me see.
Hey, that's too high then.
All right, we are live. I know it's a little bit delayed, but that's okay. I think that's how all the streaming service is. And my connection looks to be pretty good. So,
Start
Melissa,
looking
you
up.
look great. Well, you
Yeah,
are
but-
looking up, but
It just helps me because I tend to look at everybody else. So when we're live, it helps me to have a mirror.
yeah.
So that I can look forward. But if I'm looking up, then that ain't gonna work.
No, yeah, I can tell when you're looking up. So
Damn it. Let me go like this. There. I guess I'll just not look at the mirror then.
y'all have any plans this weekend?
Nothing yet.
No, nothing yet.
No, my 11-year anniversary is on the 26th. So.
Oh my gosh, 11 years on the 26th. That's so cool. And
Yeah,
it falls on a Saturday,
we
doesn't
actually
it?
booked our trip last night to New York, so we're excited about that.
Wow, what are y'all gonna do there?
Well, we booked it for July. We're going to a wedding.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're excited. We have something to look forward to.
I've never
That's
been in
cool.
New York in the summer.
I'm excited. We're taking our boys. We're taking
Oh,
Jaden
that
and
is
Jordan.
so cool. That's gonna be a neat experience for them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, we're excited.
definitely, I mean, so I'm assuming you have family that lives in New York or a friend that lives in New York or.
No, my husband's cousin's husband or fiance is, I guess he's from there. So they're
Okay.
having their wedding there. They both live in Houston.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They're going to have their wedding. I believe it's in Brooklyn.
Okay.
But we're going to
Why
stay in
did they choose
Manhattan.
it? Why did they choose New York?
I guess there's some history there. I don't know. I guess they have, I don't know. There's something with New York. I don't know what it is.
New York.
Dang it, girl.
Is this too bright?
That
No,
one's
like that.
better.
No,
I think
go
I like
back.
the other one, the warm one.
Yeah, the warm one looks good.
Hold on, do it again.
No. Do it again.
That one, right? Was it that one?
Hold on. Go back. Do another one.
That
That
one.
one. Oh,
Okay. That one.
That
Yeah?
one. Yeah.
yeah.
I think everybody's lighting's looking pretty good. I have
I
my
just
my
have my room
my
light
background
on. I just
blurred
feel like
right
the
now.
other one, my face looks too white.
I have a warm light going on right now because if I switch it, yeah, I'm not even gonna mess with it because then I'll
I
forget which
haven't
one
set
it
up
is.
my new light. I have to show you my new light.
Did you get the stuff you ordered on Amazon?
It's sitting right over there. And it's big. So I haven't set
You
it
know
up
what?
yet.
Is it the one, Melissa, that you sent a text message about?
No, I'm gonna show it to y'all. Hold on.
Here I am. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, girl, you got 9 minutes if you want to show us.
Am I showing all of YouTube?
Yes, you're
Yep.
showing. Girl, we're live. We're just chatting until 7 p.m. before we start talking about real estate stuff. So go ahead. Show us what you got.
Okay.
This is
This
official.
video thing. I guess this is the thing, right, Liza?
I think, okay, I don't know much about, again, lighting or anything, but I think that's like a diffuser, right?
Yeah, and this is the screen thing.
Yes, that's a screen, or maybe that's a diffuser. I don't know. But, yep, you got everything that I got. It
Fancy pansies.
It helps.
Then I got.
So you haven't set it up yet, right? Or you did?
No, I have it in
Okay.
the thing.
You should mess with that tonight.
Look. I'm leveling up.
Oh my gosh, Melissa. Oh my goodness. Yeah, see, you even have a little travel kit for it. That's so funny. So we
Come
know
on,
what you're
set
gonna
it up,
do.
Liza.
You're
Did
gonna
y'all
set
have
up
good
your stuff
Valentine's
this
Day?
weekend.
My Valentine's Day didn't go so well. My husband's mom had to be rushed to the hospital, so
Aww. Things
Yeah.
happen sometimes, even on holidays. So it's so unpredictable on what's going to happen.
yeah, so she's in there still, and she had to have emergency gallbladder surgery. So we went. It's just been kind of touch and go.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
but I did get an art piece in that I commissioned for. Had commissioned. Did y'all see it?
No, I haven't. Did you post it on Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, it's on my Instagram story. But let me show you.
I'll need to look. I'll need to look on there.
You're gonna be like, oh. I don't know if you can see him.
That is so cute. Oh, that's so cute.
It's Maya's and Coda's and Coda's and Maya's.
That's so cute, Melissa.
It's on the wall in the kitchen, or like in the kitchen going into his office area.
Do you know how big it
This
is?
came out so cute, huh?
Do you know how big it is? How big? Is it pretty big or is it a small painting?
I would say this one is. Hold on, I have the size right here. I have to go back. It's 11 by 14.
Okay.
Yeah, so here it is in the wall by the office.
Oh, that's so cute.
Or by his man cave.
Yeah.
You can see his man cave right there. There it is. It's like going into the living
I
room.
see it. That's actually a pretty good size.
It's super cute.
Yeah, that is super cute.
I
Aww.
miss it so much. But this was the original picture. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Oh.
Look at Maya's little bottom teeth.
Oh my god.
Look at Coda's little face.
That's funny. Oh my goodness.
She had her little teeth
Yeah.
like that.
That's so they go like this.
They're so cute. Oh my gosh, I miss them so much. Y'all know we put them down in October, right? So, yeah. But they're with us every day. They're staring at us
Aw, that's so
them
cute.
every day. I love them. So, what about you, Kina? You just had your Valentine with your baby?
Yeah, it was chill. We didn't really do much of anything, but I got her like a little edible arrangement with like chocolate covered strawberries, and her dad
Aw,
gave her some stuff, so it was cute.
that's cute. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It seems like we need more ideas on how to spend Valentine's Day with kids. I went to a don't judge me, but there's a place called Little Darling in Southwest Austin. Do you know where Circle S and William Cannon is at?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a bar called Little Darling there, but it's also a restaurant, and you can bring
I
kids
think I've
in.
heard of that.
Yeah, so you can bring kids there as long as it's before 9 p.m. And it was like a last minute thing we decided to do because I had a lot of stuff happen on Valentine's Day that pretty much hit the fan and I needed to address. And I was stressing and I was telling Brian, I was like, I don't know what to do. I think we're going to have to cancel our plans. But he came up, he's like, why don't we go to Little Darlings? And I'm like, with our son, with a kid at a bar? And he was like, well, they serve food there. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Because he made the call. He was like, yeah, we allow kids until 9. You gotta, be out by then. So that's what we did. We went there and we had like a burger and they had it decorated nice and everything. So it was pretty cool. I don't know. You guys should check it out if you're into that kind of, I don't know how to, it has a really cool vibe to it. So, but yeah, that's what we did. So.
Liza likes to drink beer, so anywhere they
do.
have cool vibes and beer.
I do. Yes, I love my IPAs, my dark beers. It's good.
I love my sweet teas.
your
Just a
water
Southern
with
grandma,
lemon and sweet teas. No, coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
coffee
like-
for sure.
Yeah.
I like coffee with my milk.
There you go.
Oh my goodness.
Y'all
So
haven't tried
good.
the egg one yet? No, I'm joking.
I'm on
Y'all
Chiflada
made fun of me
now 'cause
for
I
that.
have an espresso. Did you hear me, Liza?
What did you say?
I'm on Chiflada now because I have an espresso.
Okay, so what's the
You're
big
bougie.
what is the big deal with that? Like I mean it's just espresso, right? Or
It's
no?
just tastes rich.
And Nespresso. Well, what's
Like-
the difference? I don't understand.
It's more like
Frothy?
it has
or-
that foam. Like
Yeah,
the
okay.
froth.
Now I see what. Okay. Yeah. Well, then that is kind of bougie then. The right espresso. And
I don't need to
and-
go to Starbucks, so I can tell you that much.
That's true.
It's way better than Starbucks. Once you have an espresso, you go to Starbucks, it tastes like milk.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been to Starbucks it's been a long time. I want to say years, probably.
She goes to Summer Moon.
I go
she
to
is bougie.
yeah. I'm not that bougie, but I do love Summer Moon. I do go to other local ones too, but I'm not a big fan of Starbucks. So, all right, guys, we got 2 minutes until we start talking
The clock is ticking.
about ways people can increase their chances to win a dang offer in this market. So I'm sure a lot of buyers are frustrated and they want to know more about that. We'll kind of do a little intro of what's been going on in the market. So we got 2 minutes before we do that. And I'm
Heck
checking my
yeah.
stats
Don't
here.
forget to like, subscribe,
I'm
guys.
wondering-
Oh,
yes, please. If you
like
guys are
and
watching,
subscribe. Tell your friends, especially ones that are looking to buy or sell.
absolutely.
we would love to get to 100 subscribers, and I just don't know how we're going to do it.
It will
We'll
in
get there.
time. You know what? I'm
got
thankful.
45, you quick.
I don't know how many subscribers I think we have 43 or 44. I'm so thankful.
I think it's
to
44.
them.
I'm
And-
sorry, it's
yeah.
46.
46.
Oh.
Okay, cool. I'm so thankful to all the 46 subscribers right now. That's so cool. That's 46 people that are interested
We're
in
almost
what we
there.
have to say. So that's so cool.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So I had my son subscribed to. I was showing Melissa because he has a YouTube account, and he's just pulling it up because Melissa and I are just chatting, and he's pulling up the account. And he was like, "I'll go ahead and subscribe," and I was like, "Please do."
Oh,
He's our 46 subscriber.
Yeah, there you go. He's a viewer too. So I mean, a lot of kids are actually. All right, we got 1 minute, and then we'll start talking about winning offers. Let's see. All right, guys, it is 7 p.m. Yay, we can start. Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. So,
Welcome to
yes.
Homegirls.
Yes, we
Ooh,
are
yeah.
ATX Homegirls. Thank you for joining our live stream. To my left, I have Melissa Hudson. And then to my bottom left, I have Amanda Alvarez. To my bottom right, I have Kina Habib. But Kina, did I pronounce that correctly?
you did,
Yes.
actually.
Oh my gosh, cool. So I'm always nervous about jacking up people's names. So hopefully,
Me
yes,
too.
I did good. So
Her
thank you
last name
again.
is Brazil, by the way, not Brazil. Just
Yeah,
saying.
and I'm not from Brazil, so I don't know why people think that. But yeah, it's Brazil. But thank you guys for chiming in at ATX Homegirls. We are going to be discussing about a very, very important topic in today's market. I don't know, Melissa, you want to kick it off to what has been happening with January statistics?
Yeah, so obviously it is February, and this is around the time that Austin Board of Realtors brings in their stats. Right now, let me see. I was all prepared for my notes.
That's okay. Hey, it's a live stream. This is a very authentic, very genuine conversation. Things happen on a live stream, and you guys know we're real here, so we're keeping it real, right, Melissa?
Yeah. So I don't know how I would say significant this is, because I feel like these numbers are based off of closed sales in January, but homes that went under contract in December.
Yes.
And we know our market isn't slowing down or coming to a screeching halt, but it does show us that we are down 5% in closed sales. What does that really mean? Variation of factors. I mean, it's holidays. Maybe some people weren't shopping. But for me, what it reads is low inventory. So
Absolutely.
we're probably not closing as many homes because we are low on inventory. And we had that conversation probably every episode in the series. So I think that is something to be noted for January. And I believe we're sitting at about 4 months of inventory right now on
We
the
have
market
point 0.3 months. And
oh,
0.4.
that's for Austin.
Yeah,
but
0.3 for Austin, and let me read this here, 0.4 for Austin Round Rock MSA.
Okay, those are the statistics that I was reading for the
Right.
5%. Closed sales down 10% in city of Boston proper. Again, this all goes back to, in my opinion, and it's no secret, we need homes. People
Yeah.
need homes.
We need people, yeah, we do need a lot more inventory to be able to meet this demand. And this is why, so buyers out there can understand, this is why the price is increasing. There's a huge demand, especially in the city of Austin metropolitan area. So that is driving down our inventory time, increasing our prices, which is why we're having this live stream, because we find buyers in the situation where they are in multiple offer situations, and they're finding it hard to compete, maybe because they don't know, they're not sure what to do, or they don't feel comfortable. So I don't know if you guys are comfortable jumping into the next section of what this whole live stream is about, on how to increase your chances of winning an offer when you are submitting an offer and you're trying to purchase a home, right? So
Well, we're not going to give all our secret sauce out,
Yeah.
but and,
That's
well,
right.
for two reasons. Obviously, the things that we do for terms, and there are several terms in a contract that can help you win an offer. It would be hard to interpret all of that through this live stream unless you're one-on-one and it's specific to that home and specific to that buyer. What I would like to address immediate or right off the bat is, you as a buyer have to have some skin in the game.
Absolutely.
So you have to be ready to play ball in this market. And if you're not ready to play ball, that's okay. But if you are submitting offers in this market and you're kind of you got one toe in the court and one toe out of the court, it's probably going to be a luck thing. Like, I got lucky and I got this offer, or maybe I had a really good realtor that really pushed me on these terms. I've had buyers in the past who say, this is my most common thing to say as I'm walking through a house when I know that buyer really wants a home. How bad do you want the house?
right.
If you wake up tomorrow and this house is off the market, how bad will you feel? I always know right away if that buyer's really, really want the house and ready to play ball, or they're kind of iffy on it. And you'll know right away on the terms. So
Absolutely.
terms.
Yeah. And
Are you ready to play ball?
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up, Melissa. It's going to be impossible, right, to strategize everything, because there are several terms that can be negotiated that can increase your chances. But again, as Melissa mentioned, every buyer is unique, their situation is unique, and every home is going to be unique too. It really is dependent on every home, what's going on with that home, how many offers they have, how prepared the buyer is. And talking about being prepared, one of the very first things I think that we all can agree on, if you are not buying a property cash and you are needing to finance, then it would defeat the purpose to start looking for properties now before you have your financing in order. So I think one of the best things, and it's an old rule, but I still firmly believe it applies even in today's market. If you're going to look to buy into a home and you want to increase your chances, you need to have your financing in order. And what that means is having a pre-approval, right? Speaking to a lender, submitting all your documents. That would be the best way to know that you are a for sure strong buyer. And coming
Or
up
one
with what
step
that
up,
budget is.
right? Like really
Yeah.
being fully underwritten. What does that
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
That means that literally this lender is handing you a sheet of paper, virtual, of course, it's a PDF. And they're saying, we have completely vetted you as a buyer. We looked at all your reserves. We have not only given you a range of price, we've given you the max price. We know you're shopping in this specific area. You're fully approved. All you need is a house.
Right.
Fully approved is different than pre-qualified.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. With a pre-qualification, it's a matter of the numbers, right? What's your income? What's your credit? Yes, this budget will work. But when you are fully underwritten, you are submitting certain documentation. Again, every buyer is going to be unique, and they're going to require certain documentation from you. But you are required to step up that game, right? Submit your documentations. If you're a W-2 or salaried employer, 1099, have all of those documents up front. Have your bank statements ready, and have that information and supply it to the lender so they can fully underwrite you and make sure you're a strong, solid buyer, and that there's not going to be any hiccups when you are ready to submit an offer. Another thing that helps with the credit approval, right? There are certain things in the contract that we do have to stipulate. It does help, again, that's another thing, being fully underwritten. A lender can actually discuss this with the buyer and the realtor, like, hey, we can actually waive certain things, certain contingencies on the contract because I've been able to fully underwrite them. We can close at X amount of days. They have enough reserves in the bank to go over a certain amount if they need to. There's many factors. And go ahead, Melissa. I know you had something to say there.
I just don't want to forget because I'm getting a little ADD.
Yep.
I did take my medicine today, by the way. But
Oh, Lord.
when she talked about those terms, so when you submit a contract for a resale home, you have your contract, your 1-to-4 resale contract, then you have something called the third-party financing addendum, which basically lays out to the seller what kind of loan you have, your interest rate, your terms of your loan. But there's that one piece in there that really can help push you over the edge. And it's a combination of a few things, right? What we're discussing, your pre-approval. I always feel it really does go back to the lender that you have, because that lender, if they're going to fully underwrite you, they're also probably pretty confident in saying, hey, look, the amount of days you put in there, you're telling the seller, these are the amount of days that I can be fully approved. If you're already fully approved, really, your days in there are going to be
Minimal.
very minimal, right?
Right.
And then you're basically telling that seller, hey, look, I'm fully approved. There is a box that you can check that says I don't need financing to purchase this home, but that's probably because they have enough reserve to buy it cash in the event something happens. But the least amount of days that you put on that third-party financing addendum to tell a seller how long it'll take for you to fully get approved for that home, the better for you.
Exactly.
So anyway, we won't dive too much in because it might confuse you a little bit, but unless you're someone who's wrote several offers on homes with realtors, those amount of days are going to help you. And there's some other things that we can put in there, but
yeah, absolutely.
On
And
YouTube Live tonight. We'll be on here all night.
yeah, and you know what, Melissa, speaking of what you just mentioned, that the lender will communicate certain things to the buyer and the agent, wouldn't you guys agree that I think it's just as important that we have communication with the lender? There's a problem that I've been seeing, that certain buyers will go with a particular lender to try to get the best rate or best incentives, right? And sometimes there's a lack of communication, but all they have with them is they're going to get a good deal, but there's no communication. Now, let me tell you something, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this too. Listing agents, when you're ready to submit that offer and they take a look at who's doing the loan, not only will they look at that, they will also call the lender to vet the buyer before the seller accepts an offer, if they're leaning towards your offer. And the reason for that is because they want to make sure this lender is going to get the job done. So again, I think more importantly than anything, communication and having a strong team by you, right? Such as a realtor, a good lender, if you're financing, right? I know that there are buyers out there that do purchase homes cash. This one, we're kind of leaning a little bit more on the financing just because there are a few things and addendums with the contract when you do submit an offer. So you want to make sure as a buyer that your lender is going to communicate with you all the way and keep you posted, not only provide you great service, but also be able to finish that cross line. So I think that's equally as important.
Agents hate seeing these national lenders, and not to throw shade on them in any way, but they want to see a local lender that knows the local market and will be available for you. And I always have my lender, if I'm working with the buyer, I always have my lender call as soon as we've submitted our offer, just to save the listing agent even that step. And I feel like I know for a fact that's set over the top a couple of times.
That is awesome. Yeah.
I love it when lenders do that, especially because I'm usually on the listing side. I'm like, oh, this lender took the time to call me. They can vouch for this buyer. That means so much. But chiming in on what Keena was saying, I'll be honest, when I'm presenting offers to my sellers, I'll say, these two look very much alike. Is there one that you favor more than the other after you've, done a comparison on the terms? And I do sometimes, I can't sway them to do one thing or the other.
Right.
I can tell them what I would recommend if it was my own, or, my experience that I've had in the past. But it just truly helps to have a lender who is local, again, that knows the market. You're going to have your loan originator, your processor, and your underwriter, and to have them in at least the same time zone is super helpful. The same office building, even better. But it does kind of, I would say in a lot of instances, it doesn't benefit the buyer to have a loan from, a big bank or someone in New York City, when a local lender can call right away from their desk and be called back directly to their desk line,
Right.
From a listing agent on behalf of the seller.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and all this to say, really, it's an assurance, right? They're just ensuring that, hey, this lender's going to get it done. You know what I mean? It's not, and like you said, Melissa, what it boils down to is if there are two offers that are right about the same, the terms are just right about the same, that's what it boils down to, right? There's going to be one that's better because it might be that there's a local lender versus a lender that nobody's ever heard of. And that's what scares people. When I have listing agents ask me when I submit an offer, they're like, who is this lender? I've never worked with them. And what am I going to say if I've never worked with them, right? It doesn't help the situation. It's very important that there's some experience there, or it's a lender that's well known to help the buyer's case. And that way the listing agent, because what they're going to do is they're going to vet that lender. They're going to make sure, okay, this lender can get it done, because they're going to relay that information to the seller. Because the seller ultimately is going to ask, well, what do you think, right? It's the seller's decision, but sometimes they do ask those questions, like, what do you think about this offer? And
Yeah.
that's when we give these opinions. So I'm glad you guys agree about that, because it's so important to not go with the best deal out there, but go with someone that's has great communication and that they're actually going to get back to you when the time comes. Because when that time comes, and it will, things always happen, right? There's always something that a document's needed, or there's an appraisal issue. We need that lender by your side to make all of this work, or it could all fall apart.
And it does fall apart in the 11th hour. What, Amanda?
And you need a realtor by your side, because you also want to know what the seller's motivation is. Like, are they going to need a lease back? Are they going to need, you got to know what their motivation is. How soon do they want to close? Do they need to, wait on closing? And, so you just need to become friends with the seller's agent as well, to learn that stuff. So that way you can also implement those things in your offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, that's such a good point. I think it's crazy just to see how many times I've made an offer on a home, or even been on the listing side, and the other agent that's submitting just never even calls the listing agent, has no communication. They're just submitting an offer almost blind. So you almost have no idea, like, what are these people looking for? I always call to try to figure out what is that motivation. I had a listing, this was last year, that had a crazy amount of offers on it, and only a couple of them even called to see, what the seller's motivation was, and they weren't looking for just the highest offer, and they actually needed time. They were moving to a completely different city. And what won them was somebody that asked or gave a longer lease back than what they were even asking for.
Right.
So you're right. Sometimes it's the term. Sometimes it's not just the highest amount of money that's going to win it over. You have to know what their motivations are, and that's what you play to.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. That's so important. I mean, I don't think it surprises me as well. I mean, you need to know what you're working with. Like, and as you said, Kina, the motivation, what's going to move them, right? What do they need? They may need a lease back, like you mentioned, Amanda. So all of these factors are so important, because it helps the buyer form up and draft up their offer that hopefully the seller will love enough to work with that buyer. And they're going to notice these. I mean, I don't think that a seller is not going to notice that the agent called, right, to find out more information. They're going to be like, oh, that's the agent that is representing the buyer that called, right, to get more information, they're gonna want to know that information, because it may sway them to work with your offer. So that's all very important. Thank you guys for letting me know on that, because I think the audience will find that very important. That communication is key, as it always has been. It's not something that's outdated. We still need communication, and know what's going on with a seller, or the listing agent. They can inform them what's going on with the seller.
I've had a situation where we didn't get the offer. This is when I was on a buy side, but maybe I do too much. I'll call, I know that you were on Showtime or it was Just Go, but I'm showing your property at this, you're listing on this street at this hour. And then when I leave, hey, can I give you some really quick feedback, especially if I know they may want to submit an offer. My clients are pretty interested in putting an offer, here's some feedback, showed well, this or that. And then, go home and write the offer, text or call the agent. Hey, we're going to be sending an offer. I'm going to be sending for signatures in about an hour. So maybe around 7 or 8 tonight, you'll get that offer. Okay. By this time they're sick of me, but they already know me by first name. Call them again. Hi, Melissa. Hey, I just sent you that offer. Can you confirm it? Can you check your email and confirm it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at it, just got it. Oh, can you confirm it on email that you got? Yes, certainly. Submit the received. Thank you.
Right.
We'll be back. We'll get back to you. And then, if you don't hear, because most contracts will be best and final by this day. So when that day comes, they're looking at those offers. You may want to do a little nudge. Maybe your agent will. Call that other agent. I think, are you guys reviewing today? When you'll be making a decision.
Right.
So, I am that person, but it's because I really want to be top of mind and do the best I can for my client. But, something that's happened in the past is, we didn't get the offer, and maybe about 4 days later, I get a phone call from the agent. And they were like, hey, Melissa, that other one didn't work out. That buyer, pulled out last minute. They had their hands in a lot of pots. What I mean by that is some buyers are writing offers on multiple properties. So, maybe they got the other one they really wanted. But, your offer was great and your communication was great. And we would, my client would like to work with your buyer. Boom.
Exactly.
So,
Awesome.
yes, having an agent that's going to go to bat for you helps. But I wanted to talk about and touch base on new buyers in this market and how to win it. If you're a new buyer, I think a lot of it will be education, asking the right questions and having, a lot of things can happen really fast. You may have found an agent online. You may have been referred by a friend. They send you to a lender because everybody wants to know what your buying power is. You get qualified. There may be a house in the market. You'd like to go see it right away. But I do think it's important to take the time out to have a true buyer's consultation so you can know what is expected of you, because, having, like I said in the beginning of the episode here, having skin in the game as a buyer is really important, and how to prepare yourself for a win. Sometimes it's going to mean saving money. So yeah, you may qualify for a home right now, but right now what's winning offers is over list price. And if it's over list price and that house, the lender for your mortgage loan says, we don't think the house is worth that much, you have to bring that amount of cash to the table. So there are other ways to win an offer. There are other mortgage lenders, and there are companies that will actually provide you cash, to purchase that house like it's cash. But there's a lot of stipulations, so it won't work for every buyer.
Exactly.
But if you meet it and you're a candidate for one of these cash is king type programs, it's a really good way to win an offer if you're in a situation where you just have to have that home and you're okay to pay additional fees to win the deal.
Absolutely. And I think to piggyback on that, Melissa, about the buyer's consultation, I think more than ever, it's so important for buyers to understand what this market is like and to set the expectations up front. Some buyers, I've had some, they're aware of the market, but I've had some, oddly enough, think that offering the asking price is enough. And as we know, as agents, we know sometimes it's not enough. But buyers think that it is. So like, well, we're offering them what they're wanting. But every market, even in Austin, we have these little sub-markets, right, in certain areas that only if they were to go to a buyer's consultation and understand in the market that they're interested in, they would understand, well, so if you see here, right, in the past month or 3 months or 6 months, these homes were listed at X price, but most of these ended up selling for a certain percentage more, 15% more, 20% more, 25% more, sometimes 40% more. And if they can understand that, then they know what they're walking into, rather than just getting qualified, seeing homes, and be so stressed that they're not winning anything without understanding what they're walking into. So I agree with you very much on that, Melissa. I think more than ever, buyers, especially for new buyers, you absolutely need a consultation to be aware of what market you're walking into.
And I feel like what's happening is that, I think we had kind of touched on this a little bit too, is that last year, I feel like all of us were kind of just playing it by ear. Like things were constantly changing and buyers were learning to get more aggressive, and we were learning to write more and more aggressive offers.
Right.
And I feel like this year now, majority of the consultations that I'm having, people are like, I know it's going to be crazy. Like, I know what I got to do. Like, they're suited up this year. Okay. They're ready. Like last year, it was like, come on, we're like coaching them into it. And I feel like it's a totally different ball game. Like, a lot of people are just, they understand it. They've heard it. They've seen it on the news. Like, it's all over the news, how much everything is changing and interest rates are rising and all of these things. They're listening. They get it. At least a lot of them.
Yes, and you're right, Kina. A lot of buyers, they're pretty savvy. They're understanding what's going on. They're either seeing it on social media or news outlets, and they're getting the gist of what the market is like. And not only is it's relevant, especially when they're trying to, or they're thinking about buying a home. So they have a somewhat of an understanding that the market is quote unquote crazy, right? But what does that crazy mean? And it depends, right? If they're looking in Southwest Austin or North Austin, Cedar Park, they're going to be different kinds of crazy, right? But if they can at least understand what the data means to them, right? And what it's going to mean for them to be able to win an offer, what it's going to take, right? That skin in the game. Then at least they know the expectations up front. That way, when they're ready to view homes and submit offers, they know what they got to do. And in a consultation,
just give them everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ask them nothing. Give them everything.
Yeah. Just give them everything. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of jokes on
you
that.
Want my new handbag too? Gosh.
You want some free tacos? I mean, gosh, what do I got to do to win an offer?
First child at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. Like, be realistic in this market. If your realtor comes to you and says, this I think is a winning offer, they will also ask you, are you comfortable with these terms? But just know that if you say to your realtor, what do you suggest? And your realtor gives these suggestions of terms, and you're like, this guy is crazy. Like, what is wrong with them? Just know that the terms that they're giving you is amazing, kind of, unconventional. It's not what you thought. But if you ask them what it's going to take to win the deal, it's probably the best terms. And even then, you're going to hit.
That'll be the time that that you love that house, when you get a
right
penny.
Right.
Yeah. You may hit and miss. And when shopping with buyers, especially in resale homes in this market, I just say, we may hit and miss like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times, and their eyes get big, and I'm like, I'm being very serious. We will literally shop till we drop, and we may submit offers, and we may not get anything. A month or 2 months may go by, but are you in the market to buy a home or not? That's what I mean by ready to play ball. You got to be ready to play ball.
Absolutely. I mean, and I'm not sure if you guys are experiencing this, but buyers have to be ready. A home comes on the market if they're ready, right? And the definition of ready has kind of changed somewhat over the past couple of years. But if they're ready, that means as soon as a home comes on the market, they have to be able to see it relatively quick, not wait till 2 weeks later, or you know what I mean? Like, they have to be able to see it hopefully within that week. I mean, I know last year was a whole different game. I mean, these homes were they were coming on the market and then going under contract that same day. It was impossible to get in on some of these homes. And I remember my buyers would send me certain homes, and I would check on it, and just to hear that the agent said, well, we just accepted an offer. So it was a little bit crazy last year. This year, I don't see that, right? They're waiting at least till the weekend, or they're at least having an open house. They're waiting to review, right, or submit a deadline. I'm sorry, not submit a deadline, to put a deadline on these homes that have multiple offers. They'll either put it like on a Monday or sometimes a Tuesday. Sometimes I'll see a weekend, but I'm seeing more and more often it'll be on a weekday. And it kind of gives buyers over the weekend, when they do generally have off from work, to be able to view the house, have time to make a decision, right? Think about these terms, because it's a lot of money at stake, right? Again, you're putting your skin in the game. There's money to be lost if you do win an offer. There's some money up front that you have to put up. So all of this, being prepared and understanding what all of these terms mean, like I mentioned earlier, the consultation is so important, but just that alone as well, giving you time to view, submit an offer, understanding your terms, talking it over with your realtor. Gosh, man, you have to be somewhat available to make it happen, unfortunately. So
homes will usually go on the market like around a Thursday.
Yeah.
Which is what Liza was saying. They may wait through the weekend, may do the best and final. We need your best and final offer, by Sunday, 5 p.m., something like that. But on the off chance that a house hits the market on a Tuesday, and you've got a busy work week, but you are in the market, like, it isn't one of those things where house hits the market on Tuesday and you're going to carve out some time on Saturday morning. Like, chances are that house will be under contract Thursday night. Like, I'm just saying, it's not often that they go on the market Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but if they do, it probably has something to do with the seller's decision on when they need to get their home sold. So, don't wait, be available, take a lunch break, go in late, call, leave early, go in the evening. Lock boxes will usually be on vacant homes, I believe, until 8 or 9 o'clock. And then, if you're working around a seller's schedule, it's probably going to be an evening showing anyway. And most people will allow people in through 8 o'clock at night. So yes, you may be shopping in the dark, but at least you're getting in there.
Exactly.
And you're getting it done early.
Yeah, I had a buyer that was looking for something, and it was almost that exact situation. Was so the house had hit the market, I think, on a Monday or Tuesday, and he was like, "Oh, can we check this out this weekend?" And I was like, "No, we're going tomorrow."
Yeah.
So
when are you available tomorrow?
Yeah,
9 a.m. or 2 p.m.
Like, it can happen. Yeah, and I mean, just because a listing has multiple offers, or even if they just say like, this is our offer deadline, doesn't mean that you can't submit before that. Sometimes I've even seen where I'm like, oh, well, they've got a deadline, so they've probably already got multiple or whatever it is. You can always sneak in. That does not mean that they can accept something before that deadline. Absolutely. There's sometimes that there's an offer that comes up that they can't refuse. So you got to pay to play. So
absolutely. And
go in here.
I'm so happy you said that, Kina, because that happened so often last year, right? Yeah. So in other words, if there's a deadline, if you're ready to submit an offer, don't wait till the deadline. If you're ready, you're ready, right? Submit the offer. You never know. They might just want to work with you and then take off the deadline. Again, this is all seller's decision, right? It's not agent saying, oh, here's the deadline. No, it's a seller's decision. So if the seller wants to work with your offer, regardless or despite of them putting in the system that there's a deadline, they're going to work with your offer. And the agent
really just to be considerate, so you don't sit there and collect offers for 3 weeks. Like that's inconsiderate. So they're doing it to, make the process a little bit easier for everybody, but it's not set in stone. So sneak in there.
Exactly.
From my perspective, because most of my sales last year were listings, I'm going to tell you the first 3 offers are probably have always been the best offers. And that's not to say, the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th offer came in and it was crap.
Yeah.
Sometimes I was like, whoa, glad we waited, Yeah. But for the most part, the people that are in the door early, the serious ones.
Yep. And
are usually like, it's just crazy because sometimes it's like, I look at this first offer that comes in and I tell myself, this is a really good offer. Mm-hmm. It's a really good offer. And I would be surprised if there's one better. And then another one comes in and it's like comparable, but that first offer is, maybe a third comes in and it's really close, but sometimes it's crazy. It's usually the first offer that they get that just looks really good and too good to pass up.
It sure does. I don't know if you guys want to discuss a little bit about when a buyer does submit an offer, there's these terms, right? And we have something called earnest money. And that's the skin in the game that some buyers don't really understand that it is important, right? So traditionally speaking, in our markets, it's about 1%. But if buyers don't already know this, a lot of buyers are putting in a whole lot more than 1% to try to win the deal, because it's really showing a seller how serious they are about purchasing the home. They're putting a lot at stake, right? A lot of skin in the game to be able to win it, and letting the seller know that they are going to make this happen, right? They're going to go through the finish line, and you know what? It's not just a measly 1%, even though 1% is a lot, but it's way more than that. So they have a lot to lose, which is why they're going to be committed to make it happen. What do you guys think about that? About the earnest money?
Yeah, 1% is pretty standard. But and for the people that are watching that may not know what the earnest money is, it is something that it's in the contract. I don't know if you want to call it like a good faith number. This is what I'm willing to lose if I can't make it to the end, but it is your money. It's held in escrow in the title office here in Texas. We close it with title companies, and it's basically applied towards your bottom line when you close.
Yeah.
So yes, 1% is pretty standard, but if you're not looking at percentages, so you're basing it off like a home that's 400,000. So you're bringing 4,000 to the table at 1%. But people are writing pretty insane numbers in that portion of the contract. So they're saying, hey, the house is 400,000, but I'm willing to give them like 12 grand.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give them 10 grand in earnest money because it's still going to go to my closing costs. I'm willing to throw it all, throw everything at the board. And then maybe some really low option days. But again, you can do combinations and different things with those terms, and we can't get into all of it right now. But that is one thing that's important to note of having skin in the game. Even if you're using a down payment assistance program, just know that you have to have some money when you come to the table when you're purchasing a home. And that earnest money is super important because it has to be in your bank and they have to be able to track it. I'm talking about your lenders, right? So there's certain things that you can be gifted, like if your mom or your dad or your grandma or, maybe I don't know, someone that's not on the loan is gifting you money to help you purchase a house. That earnest money has to be your own money. Am I wrong to say that? I think that's true, right? The earnest money has to be.
It has to come from their account. And especially if they're financing, the lender's going to look into that. It could derail a deal if it's coming from a different source. I don't think the title company will accept earnest money from someone else's account. So they'll take a look at that as well. Melissa, just what you said, keyword standard, right? The standard is 1%. In this market, and for most homes, right? Not all homes are going to have multiple offers. Most homes do, but you cannot be standard with your terms if you're determined or if you're going to win an offer. You have to be above and beyond that. And obviously, your realtor can let you know what's going to advise you on what terms would work. Or get with one of us, right, to help you out in that situation if you're already looking into buying a home or have been thinking about buying and wasn't sure because the market has been crazy or the market has deterred you from even looking into buying a home. I know a lot of people have feared or they think they're not going to be able to, they don't have a chance. What do you guys think about that? Are you guys hearing about that, or what do you think about that? Buyers thinking they're kind of putting their home buying search on hold because of the market. So
don't put it on hold. If you tuned in last week, then you know what we're talking about.
Right.
If you didn't, please watch the second episode, the second full episode of ATX Homegirls YouTube series, where we did have a guest who discussed down payment assistance programs, which you may be surprised the income levels and caps for that have gone up. So if you're a household, whether you're single or, you're a double applicant, 2 people on the loan, you'd be surprised that you can make over 100,000 together and still, if you have a ton of money in the bank that you've saved and you can still use down payment assistance, you may have some, you can get creative with the way that you write the terms of the contract. So now if you're a buyer and you're putting things on hold, I would just really sit and think about what the market is going to look like at the end of the year, how much the homes will cost, probably a lot more than they cost today. Don't lose sight of your goal. Stick with it. Again, you may throw 20 darts at a wall, and the 21st one, it's your home. That's what I would do if you're fatigued and you want to take a couple weeks off. But I think that if you're in the market to buy a home, you have a dream and a goal, and I would just encourage you to keep it moving and keep hope alive. There's light at the end of the tunnel, but you have to have.
There really is. I had at least 2, maybe even 3 buyers tap out last year that came in. This was like early last year when it really started picking up. And then towards the end of the year, I kind of tapped them back and was like, what's going on? How are y'all feeling now? And at least, 2 of them came back in and are now under contract. So,
that's so awesome.
I'd say, sometimes if you need to take a break because it's just stressing you out, I get it. Not everyone is cut out to compete. Yeah. But if you can keep your head in the game, and like you said, if you have a goal, make it happen. Like on every buyer consult I have, like I said, they're aware. Sometimes they're a little bit scared or weary of it, but I'm like, if you're in it, I'm here too. Right. So I'm competitive as hell. Like, I'll fight for this. So if you're in this with me, then let's get it. Like, we're getting a house.
Absolutely.
Just be patient.
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely need someone that's going to fight for you, be there with you. You're not alone, right? Just like Kina said, you are not alone.
If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Okay.
Facts. Exactly. And that's, those buyers consultations are important, not just to figure out like what's up with the market, but to determine what's up with this realtor.
Right.
Do you like this person? Are you going to vibe with them?
Yes.
Are they experienced enough to get you the house that you're trying to get? That's super important. Don't lock yourself in if you don't feel comfortable with that person.
Absolutely. Very, very well said. Good point, which is why it's important to still interview and go with someone that you feel comfortable with, that's going to help you, that is going to help you, that you're going to vibe with, and that they're going to do whatever it takes to help you win in this market, because it is a tough market for buyers. So we definitely need all hands on deck, as they would say, to make it happen.
And a lot of that, again, goes back to the inventory. I was looking up a couple things in my notes here.
Bring it.
So a couple of news stories came out this week. This is an inventory light at the end of the tunnel kind of conversation, and you may have seen it, and we can always put in the link here for these 2 articles. But KBUE News reported on Hays County, there's a subdivision going up, or a development called Prairie Lakes, and this is in Southeast Buda, but it's actually part of the Kyle ETJ. So I don't know if you're familiar with something called a little town called Niederwald. So it's in that area, and Amanda probably knows what I'm talking about. Nodding her head. South Austin girl over here. So she's got family that owns a lot of land out there. That's why. So
like by Matthias, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So this is going to be, drum roll. Can I get a drum roll?
Oh.
2,200 lots. Okay. It's going to be a combination of single family homes, apartment homes, and duplexes.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
This is over 1,000-acre development. Okay. So this is starting, I believe this one's already being worked on as in the month of February. I believe it's this month. Okay. Then if we're looking further east, more inventory, drum roll. In Elgin, okay, this is going to be in 2023, so it may take a little longer for these folks.
There you go.
And they are slated for, and this will be in the part of Elgin that's in Bastrop County, by the way. $300,000 home price will be in the $300,000. So it'll probably be in the upper threes by then. And this report is out today, but when they start building in 2023, we don't know.
Yeah.
That could change, you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's over 300-acre development. They're looking to build 1,700 homes. That's still a lot, guys.
Yeah.
And
It's
you
a
know,
lot for 290.
it is a lot for 290 traffic, so hopefully they have some infrastructure, improvement going on over there.
Right.
But the development is called Trinity Ranch Elgin. Starting in 2023, it's going to be in South Elgin in Bastrop County, and 1,700 homes starting in the 300s. I believe by the time they break ground, you're probably looking closer to the higher 300s. And I do believe the median home price in Elgin was about 320s last year in 2021, based on the stats. So anyway, that's some good news, right? If you're looking in those areas.
Excellent news. And I think the norm, maybe buyers know this, maybe they don't. But I'm going to share anyways, is with new builds, there are a lot of coming soon projects or projects that have already broken ground that are not going to be ready until the following year. But if you are thinking about a new build, then you need to already start thinking about how are you going to, what the price is, the projected price range, what it could potentially, it's hard to predict what prices are going to be, but know that they are probably going to go up, and it's best to still be on a wait list for these projects, because you never know, right? If you're thinking about Elgin, like Melissa said, you get on that wait list and there's another project that's nearby that you want to be on the wait list as well. That's been the norm right now with a lot of builders, a wait list. You have to be on a wait list because so many buyers are looking to buy a new home as well because of the lack of inventory. So get on several wait lists, and I would still recommend to get a realtor. Things even with new builds happen. That you need a realtor by your side, no matter what, on any property. For sale by owner, which I hardly see on, because they're hiring realtors as well, because it's crazy, right, to manage all these offers and all these expectations. But with for sale by owners, with new builds, with resale homes, with anything really that you're purchasing on, you want a realtor by your side to help you and guide you, to help get you these properties.
And just a reminder, you guys, for those that are buying, there's no cost to you to have a realtor represent you. It's already, been it's already in the seller's disclosure. So, and that's even with new builds. So I know that we spoke about that. I believe it was our last episode.
Yeah, that is a misconception. It's already, for new construction, they've already put it in their bottom line. So don't let them tell you you're going to get some special deal because there's no agent representing you. That's not true. It's already been included in their bottom line. When they factor in, the materials, the build, the commissions, the title policy, most of these developers and new construction companies have already even calculated paying the title policy for you. So don't let that, don't let that discourage you, because, you walk in the sales office and they do have most of them have a pretty good, I would say, what's the word that I'm looking for? Presentation. You come in, they have a process. They know the neighborhood. They give you these pamphlet. These are the look on the wall. These are the homes that are sold. These are the ones that are available. All that's good and dandy. But what happens when crap hits the fan because they didn't pour your foundation and it's 3 months late on the foundation? Like, what are these terms in the contract? How could you benefit from having someone represent you? Do you really want to make 20 calls and spend half your day doing it? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes that's what we do in new construction. We're chasing people to try to get answers for you. So yeah, and then in terms of resale property and purchasing a resale home, again, like Amanda said, you do not pay a buyer's agent to be represented in either a new construction or a resale home.
And I wanted to also discuss about the conditions and contingencies for a contract. So that's one more thing, or one more topic to discuss on how to increase your chances to win an offer in this market. And as you guys know, with contingencies or conditions on a contract, one of them being is that you need financing approved, right? And I think we discussed that earlier, that you can potentially waive that so long as there's good communication with the lender and your realtor, and also inspections. So I believe we did touch on this on our last stream, but I don't ever recommend waiving your option period. I know some buyers do that because they're completely comfortable, and I can understand why they would if they're savvy, right? They've bought homes, they have experience. But for anybody new that is in this market buying, I don't recommend waiving that option period. However, you can have an option period and waive negotiating on inspections if you want it. That can be done, but to completely waive your option period, I wouldn't do that. But it is something that's all terms on the contract are up for negotiation. So it's definitely something. I want to hear from you guys. Do you guys have any stories or any experiences that have helped you with buyers, or maybe something that you had to do or something that you heard that you guys wanted to share with the audience?
Yeah, I've had one or two or three. I've had a lot of interesting.
Go right away.
I've had a lot of interesting situations. You know, when I'm sitting, you know, seeing it from a listing agent's perspective and looking at a contract where I've got this buyer who's willing to give it all. Mm-hmm. And there's something really that doesn't sit in my stomach very well sometimes for my sellers when I'm looking at someone who's not even willing to have an option period, because that is just a perfect opportunity for me as a listing agent mm-hmm. to see how much risk that buyer is willing to take.
Right.
You show a big hand when you put that amount of money or a certain amount of money in that option period. And if I don't care if it's a 1, 2, or 3 day, mm-hmm. you know, showing me motivation of how much risk you're willing to take, it's, you know, you show it in your terms.
Right.
And that is really one place in the contract where I feel like you show your biggest motivation.
Right.
To a seller. And if you don't put an option period in there, that seller never gets to see how much risk you're willing to take. So why would they want to take a risk on you?
Right. Absolutely. Very well said. That's probably one of the biggest risk factors, if any, to a buyer up front, is that option period with that option fee. We're seeing crazy numbers in that section. And I remember back in the day, we could get away with $200,
$100,
$300. And back in the day, buyers would get mad because they were like, I'm going to lose that if I back out. Yes, you're going to lose that if you back out. Well, fast forward now in this market, I'm just going to say, you don't need near that. I mean, it's way more than that. And that's another one of those skin in the game. Biggest things that you're going to lose if you do back out would be that option fee. Yeah. But that's
I had a buyer want to waive because they had read something about it or heard about it, and they completely wanted to waive the option period in the inspection. And I was like, no, ma'am, we're not doing it. And we actually ended up backing out of that contract because there was problems that came up on that inspection that she was like, oh, I'm not actually willing to deal with that.
Right.
So
yeah, it's so
I
risky.
never recommend it.
So risky. I mean, it depends on everybody, right? So, I mean, if that buyer, and I'm glad you brought that up, some buyers that are probably viewing this stream right now, they're getting some information, and I'm gonna tune in again or chime in again on why it's so important to get a realtor. So buyers right now are viewing this stream, getting information, getting tips, right? But tips alone are not gonna help you in this market. You need, again, someone by your side. And I'll tell you why. Because everybody's unique, right? Everybody's risk tolerance is different. So if a buyer that's very experienced or a buyer that is a contractor themselves, right? If you meet with a realtor and you tell them, I'm already a contractor, I'm okay waiving, I don't need these inspections, I can do all this work myself, then the realtor can help you guide you on that aspect. And that's a lot of the things that buyers in this market aren't seeing that. All they're hearing is you need to waive inspection, you need to waive option period. They're not hearing why. Why would a buyer do that? Not only to win it, there's a reason, there's an underlying reason for that. For a first-time home buyer that knows nothing, they're not even handy. Why would you do that to yourself, right? So that's a discussion, an in-depth discussion that a realtor will have with you to determine, right, how they can help you. They'll ask more questions based on how you're responding, right? What answers you're giving back. So
can I also I just probably, because I don't want to forget it again, y'all know me, but I did have a situation or two where it was a resale home, but a very new resale home, like home built in 2018, selling in early part of 2020, something like that.
Right.
And they still had like the 2-year, home mechanics warranty on the new construction. The seller's disclosure was filled out. I was able to ask all the annoying questions to the listing agent, all the important questions, should I say. And the home was very well taken care of. And I actually thought that builder built a really structurally sound home. I'm not an engineer, but they had a good reputation. I won't mention the builder.
Right.
But the buyer was, they were not very handy, but they were an investor, and for them, that was a risk that they were willing to take. So I reluctantly wrote the offer with no option period, but we put a huge earnest money down. So yeah, so there are situations like Liza says where, understanding why a buyer would do that. Well, look, there's a situation in which that buyer would do that, and they were willing to take the risk. They got the house, they have it rented, it's fine. So
Exactly.
crazier things have happened.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I had Anna.
Nobody's asked any questions, right? Or
Yes,
have they?
I had, yes. So Anna just asked a question. How much more are you guys doing for option? Question mark. And then she goes, $1,000. I just went and responded that this, and we can all chime in on this here in a minute, but this seems about average, sometimes a lot more and sometimes less depending on the home. You guys want to go ahead and throw in some stories on some certain experiences, because mine have ranged on less and more with option fees and option periods, because it's not always there's no, how do I put it, magical number that's going to win it for you, because people look at the overall picture, they don't just look at that, and it's one important factor, but it's not the overall picture that helps a seller decide which offer to go with. Anybody have any experiences that they want to share, or any stories or any strategies?
I've usually kind of left it up to, does that seller have multiple offers or not as well? Because of course you want to know how aggressive you need to get or not. I'd say 1,000, again, it depends on the price point of the home. So yeah, I mean, it can be totally variable.
Absolutely. What about you, Melissa or Amanda?
For option money?
Yes.
I mean, $1,000 can get it done. That's a good amount.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I will say this: I've seen in my years as a realtor, option money go from like literally $100. Liza will probably laugh at that. to I remember when we started to write 250, we were like, oh my God, we're putting 250 in here. Wow, like
I know.
This market is going crazy out
Step
here.
up our game, or when we would hear 500, we're like, wow, this market's really gone crazy.
So I think that, 1,000 to 2,000 is, I feel like, what buyers are doing and comfortable to do in a specific price range. But, I think your other terms will have to determine that as well. You might want to save a little bit money for your earnest, if you're working with a certain amount of budget.
Exactly, because it's again one of those things where if you see a home that you absolutely love, it's priced at, I'm just going to make up some numbers here, but it's priced at $500,000, and you submit an offer for $500,000 and a really, really strong option. Well, that's not going to cut it if they have multiple offers, right? Generally speaking, multiple offers means it's probably going to sell over asking price. So you need to step up your other terms as well, not just the option. The option helps strengthen that offer, right? Mm-hmm. I think for a lot of sellers, again, the highest is not always the best. I've had cases where I've won offers where we weren't the highest offer and we won because our terms were strong.
Terms were strong.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Terms are strong, but also know that for the most part, sellers do care what their net, what their bottom line, what they're going to get from that sale, what their net's going to be. That's the whole not the whole reason, but a big part of the reason they're selling. So there's other reasons for that, and obviously you'll find that out. Hopefully, right? The realtor will ask, well, what's the motivation for selling? You'll know all this information up front, so it helps you understand what terms you're going to be laying out in the contract. But the option fee is important, but just as important your other terms as well, so that the seller can see the entire picture.
And we said in the beginning, if y'all are chiming in late, that we couldn't give you all the secret sauce.
Yeah, we can't give you all our gold nuggets. You got to use a realtor for that.
We got some nuggets in there.
There you go.
But yeah. So we can't give it to you all, and also having to explain the reason why we would write a certain term this way or that way. We would probably be on here longer than an hour.
Yeah,
I'm sure. And then again, like Kina said, every buyer specific needs are different. So yeah, I'm just excited to be able to share something with you that is usually, reserved conversation between client and buyer, but I think across the board, everybody could benefit from some of this information. And if you have been a home buyer and have not made it to, made the home run, you haven't gotten there yet, maybe this will allow you some, education nuggets to take back to your agent to be like, hey, do you know, maybe we can try this or that. Or if you're a new buyer that you're looking to purchase a home in the market, maybe you're vibing with one of us here, or if not, we could always recommend another agent. But overall, you got to be willing, and I've said it in the beginning, you got to be willing to play ball in order to win in this market, and we want to help you get there. And if that means we come on here and give you some little realtor secrets, then we'll do that.
Right, absolutely. I like that you said that, Melissa. I think at the end of the day, if you got anything from this besides the basics, more important than ever is understanding the data, what your risk tolerance is, right, and your readiness, your willingness to be able to get in this market and buy a home, what it's going to take. And that's what a realtor's there.
Kina said, if I'm in it to win it, so
yeah,
I'm going to go to bat for you, but you got to bring your A game too, right?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, what was that, Kina? If you stay ready,
is what?
If you stay ready,
you ain't got to get ready.
You got to get ready.
Okay. But not every house is going in multiple offer situations. I read something, and I don't want to be quoted on this, but I thought it was like 43% are in multiple offer situations.
Yeah.
So it's not every single house.
Yeah.
You, like Melissa said earlier, you might get lucky. And sometimes you just find something and you're fast enough to get there before anyone else does. So that's definitely encouraging, at least to hear if I was a buyer right now.
Exactly. And I think buyers will understand when they are looking at a home, they'll know to ask, are there multiple offers on that home? You're going to be, so once you get with a realtor, right, and you do that consultation and you get ready to buy, you're going to be so savvy on asking the right questions, right? Are there multiple offers? Because that helps you understand how much of a risk, right? What are your terms are they're going to be? But if there aren't any offers, and like Kina said, not all homes are in a multiple offer situation, then you might just, you know what? Asking price, do some fair terms, something that's going to be, you're going to be happy and content with, and win it, seal it, right? If you love the home, right? But if it's multiple offers, man, you're going to have to, your risk tolerance is going to go up a little bit. It has to go up a little bit on that to be able to compete in this market.
Yeah, closing one next week that we got at list price, so it's still possible.
It's possible. Thank you for that, sharing that. I think that gives buyers hope, and thank you for sharing that, Kina, because not every home you're going to have to offer over asking price. Sometimes we want to just prepare you that you may have to, but in some instances, you don't have to offer all asking price. So
before I forget, I say that a lot. Sorry, y'all. If you put an offer on a house and you didn't get it, make sure your agent is following up with that the other agent and asking how long is that?
Yes.
We didn't get the offer. Thanks for letting me know. How many days is your option period? I say this because one day you're back on your app and you're looking. You're like, hey, I just put an offer on that house. It's active again. Well, if your agent's in contact with that listing agent, so when they're in multiple offers and there's so many offers coming their way, it can be overwhelming for an agent.
Right.
And they're doing their due diligence, so they're going back and they're putting the house active again, and they're probably sour pants, because I know I am when a buyer falls through and I've got to put that thing back active again.
Right.
And not all agents are going to call the ones that submitted offers to ask if their buyer would like to resubmit. So
yeah, you assume they just moved on.
Yeah, you don't, and it's kind of tough, right? Because then your buyer's like, hey, I just submitted an offer on that house. So, for me here in Manor, we have God, our inventory is just so dang low. There's now active 30 homes on the market in Manor, Texas. I live in Manor, y'all. And that's just insane to me. But I just randomly picked one house to look at, and it just went back on the market today. So maybe there's a buyer out there that put an offer on that house that went back on the market, and then they've had 11 properties go active this week, and none of these are contracted yet. And some of these houses are fairly new, 2017,
Right.
2019, 2012. The ones that are 2022 are probably new construction. You won't get in those right away, but there's a fair amount, and these are all under 497. Well, I won't count those two that are 497 because those are new construction, but the other ones are all under 375.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not bad.
So there's inventory out there that's not 550,000 median home price in
Right.
Boston.
And you know what, Melissa, when you were talking about the constant communication with the agents, if you did lose out on an offer, consider a backup offer. These all, I can't tell you how many times I see homes that go back on the market. I mean, you have to have these conversations with the buyers, and buyers have to understand, like, hey, it might be worth it. Probably more than likely, it's going to be worth it putting in a backup offer. You have minimal risk with the backup offer. And I don't want to go into all the details again. That's something that you would discuss with the realtor, but it's definitely worth it in this market to put in a backup offer, because there is that chance. And hopefully, you know, there is that slight chance that if it goes back on the market or that first buyer falls through, you're first in line. You don't have to wait for it to go back on the market and compete again. If the seller will agree to work with you as a backup offer, then take it. And then you can still search for homes. If that one, there's a chance that it may not come back on the market, but at least you have that backup position just in the event that it were to fall through. You're in first, then you'll be moved up to first position. So.
Yeah, and I'm glad you don't want to get into those terms, because we'll still be on here all night long.
Yeah, I don't want to get into too many details.
Terms.
Yeah, there you go. Just I'm keeping it basic. I know I have a tendency, you guys know by now, if you guys have been watching the streams, I have a tendency to go over on details, and that's I can't help it. So I'm trying to keep it basic. So yeah.
Where's Amanda? She fell down?
She fell down. She's like, bye.
All right, are you guys ready to wrap up?
We're ready to wrap it up.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Go ahead, Melissa. Close this out.
We're ending with.
Oh, I'm laughing because I see Amanda's head down there. But hey, guys, thanks again for coming and joining us again every other Wednesday on ATX Homegirls YouTube series. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you guys engaging. If you haven't subscribed, liked and subscribed, please do. When you subscribe, you're basically getting a notification of what's to come. So if there's a really cool topic that suits your fancy, you know, we want you to tune in, tell your friends, tell your family, tell your neighbors. You know, we'll keep it informative, fun, and funky. We'll keep it funky,
There you
right?
go. Funky. We'll keep it funky. We can dance.
Absolutely.
And I know our first episode, we did have a prize. We do plan on doing that again.
Yes.
But the most important thing is for us to bring you good conversation and value to you. So thanks again, guys.
Yes, thank you guys. Again, our links, our information, social media, all of that on how to get in contact with us. It is in the About You page, and also it'll be linked here in this stream.
Thank you, Anna.
Yeah, in case
Anna,
you guys want to
that's
get in contact with. Oh, yay. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. So again, thank you for chiming in, and this is it. This is a wrap. So thank you again, guys. Bye.
Bye.